I think when you're talking about what does mission command look like at different levels and how you communicate that via leader's intent. So at the small level, at say a brigade level, I'm not talking about a tactical environment, but let's just say even around the station itself, what does intent look like? And one example would be like in the kitchen. So we're moving the refrigerator, and I might say, all right, I want you guys to move the refrigerator from that corner over here to the sink. Okay, and then I leave. Well, come to find out, they can't accomplish that. There's for some reason where the outlet's positioned, or just the way the floor is leveled, that they can't actually accomplish that task. And without knowing why I wanted them to move it, they have no way to adapt to what it was I was actually trying to accomplish, the end state. So if I change that instruction at the beginning and say, okay, what we want, the problem we've got is, the situation in the SMEACs. The situation is, every time we get the groceries in, we have to put them over here on the center island, and then we have to shuttle them all the way over to the corner to put them in the refrigerator. And that's taken a lot of time. It's a pain, especially when we're trying to feed a lot of people on a brigade meeting. So what we want, the end state that we're trying to achieve, is when the food comes in, we can put it on the island, we can open the refrigerator, with one hand and literally reach over to the kitchen island and move all the food into the fridge, done, without having to do this shuttle thing. That's our end state. So task, move the refrigerator to accomplish that end state. And of course, we've explained the purpose behind it. So that's an example I see just on a day-to-day level, at the smallest scale possible. Because now if you left, went into town after giving that guidance, and they found out the outlet wasn't there, they could figure out a way to improvise or adapt, overcome that barrier to the task, and still maybe meet the end state. Now, if you take that up to a tactical level, let's say a strike team, and we have, through the IAP, communicated something like, put a dozer line in from Karkula Road up to Specimen Hill, and that's the task. So you're assigned your strike team, you've got this equipment, you've got this many tankers to hold that. That's what we want you to do. Well, then we go in and we start doing that, and all of a sudden the situation's changed. The wind changes, the conditions change, the fire behavior changes, and it's no longer practical, tactically, to put that line in from Karkula Road right up to the top of Specimen Hill, as the IAP said. So without any understanding of the purpose or the end state that it's trying to achieve, other than, well, I guess we're supposed to stop the fire here, we have no way to adapt. So we got to all pick up the radios, we got to start pushing that up. Hey, can't do this, situation's changed. And of course, Murphy's Law always indicates that it's that moment that comms shut down and you can't get a hold of people. And so meanwhile, the fire's doing what it's doing, the environment's changing, and we're all sitting around waiting for instructions. So the idea of leader's intent would be, okay, we want you to push that line in from Karkula Road up to the top of Specimen Hill, and the end state, or the purpose, let's say, let's go to purpose first. The purpose is that on the other side of this creek, there is a pine plantation, and that pine plantation is a major economic resource for this little community. Hence, we are protecting an economic value here, that impacts the life of the community if it's lost. That's the purpose. So the end state is that by punching this line in here, we have excluded fire from that pine plantation. Oh, okay. Well, now off you go. Now the environment changes. Can't accomplish that task anymore. But look, we could actually tie into the creek. If we did a little bit of burning out between the part of the line we did get in and the creek, we could still probably herd the fire around the pine plantation. All right, and that permission is given. You know, implicitly within the intent, Mission Command says if you see an opportunity, you act. You know, if it can still meet the end state, and obviously if it's not going to affect, you know, the forces on the left or the forces on the right, then we implement that tactic. The end state is still achieved. Or let's say it's a different value at risk. Let's say, again, on the other side of that creek, on the other side of the hill, it's homes. You know, that's a different economic value, or, you know, a community value of lives at risk potentially. Or if it is, you know, a natural resource, there's an endangered species or a particular kind of habitat. Again, knowing all that purpose behind what the tactic is for allows us all kinds of different options to still achieve the end state.